The Mariners come close to pulling off another miracle come-from-behind win, but they come up just short in the final game of this 4-game set against the White Sox. And now they get ready to play what is by far going to be the biggest series of the season. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners dropped this one tonight, 3-2 to the White Sox in 10 innings. They fall to 40-31 on the year. And unless the Dodgers have a ninth inning rally in them, they are down 2 in the ninth right now. I will keep you guys posted on that. The Mariners will be 5.5 up, likely on Texas, heading into a huge series beginning tomorrow night. Before I get started, as always, you guys can do me a favor, smash that like button. About 35% of the view or watch hours, I should say, on these post-game recaps come from people that are not subscribed. So if you're one of those, you can do me a favor, just hit the subscribe button. Liking and subscribing are just 2 free and easy ways to help support my channel. I am about 9 subs, I think, away from 3,600. Let's see if we can make that happen tonight. And comment your thoughts on this game down below. Thank you all so much for the support. Big picture, Mariners come out of this series winning 3 out of 4. You will never, ever hear me complain about a series where you win 3 out of 4. And it doesn't bother me that it's the White Sox, Marlins, Rockies, whoever it is. These are major league teams with major league talent, and it still takes something to beat them. Even the White Sox, as bad as they've been this year, they swept the Rays earlier in the year. I think they just took 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 from Boston this weekend, or split or something. So, I mean, even they are capable of getting wins. And they threw some pretty good pitchers at you. Garrett Crochet might be the best left-handed starter in the American League. Honestly, you could probably make a case that guy should be starting the All-Star game, lights out. Eric Feedy's been really good. I thought Drew Thorpe was solid. Cannon is someone I would have liked to see the Mariners do a little bit more damage against, for sure, but it wasn't in the cards, obviously. And then, like I said, Crochet just dominates tonight. So, you found a way to get the series win here. I will say the Mariners seem to have trouble closing out these series a little bit. They don't get swept, and they seem to have trouble finishing off the sweeps, especially these 4-gamers. They had a chance to get Houston a couple weeks ago in a 4-game set, couldn't do it. A chance to get Chicago in a 4-game set tonight, couldn't do it. But in the end, again, I will gladly sign the dotted line to take 3 out of 4. Kind of an interesting game tonight for the Mariners because they pushed Luis Castillo back. I've talked about this last night, I think even the night before in a video, that it made some sense. And I think it was the right move because, listen, Luis Castillo could have gone up and done the same thing that Emerson Hancock did tonight. Now, I think Castillo would have mixed in a few more strikeouts and probably looked a little bit better, but 7 innings, 2 earned runs would have been very capable of something Castillo could have delivered. And then you lose that game. Now you go into Texas with Kirby and Gilbert on their normal rest. And then, I don't know, Hancock on Sunday, Diaz on Sunday, maybe Brian Wu would have been available, but who knows? It would have been a tougher series. Now, yeah, it's frustrating to lose. You want to win every game. But now you're lined up to have Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert, and all of them with 1 extra day's rest in the Texas series. So, and I think it was a smart move, right? Because, and it almost paid off in terms of a win. Emerson Hancock more than capable of shutting down this White Sox lineup, which outside of the back-to-back home runs from Vaughn and Robert, he did for the most part. And he gave his team a chance to get the win late in the game, and they almost did it. So I don't think starting Castillo would have really changed anything outside of the fact that I think Castillo's 7 innings, 2 earned runs probably would have been prettier with more Ks and stuff like that. But results-wise, I don't think you would have gotten much different than what you got from Emerson Hancock. The Mariners also rolled out a bit of a B lineup today, although I even advocated on Twitter it might not be a bad day to giving JP a day off against a tough lefty. JP's played almost every day. I said maybe play Demo at short, coming back off the paternity list. And I even advocate maybe giving Julio a day off. He's only had 1 this year, and he even played in that game as a pinch runner. We won't talk about that game. So I actually advocated giving more guys days off in this one. But the Mariners kind of went in between. They didn't go full punt lineup. But, they certainly gave some guys a blow today, right? Cal Raleigh gets the day off, as he should have been. Listen, even if this was, a 4-game set against Houston, then you've got Chicago tomorrow. I don't think a bad idea to give Cal Raleigh a day off. He's going to need him. For the most part, then, everybody else was pretty much a regular. Maybe, Robles and left, not someone that's, playing a ton. Maybe that was a little bit of getting a guy some reps. But for the most part, they actually did roll out a pretty standard lineup for them against left-handed pitching, and they'll face another lefty tomorrow night in Andrew Haney. And I know some people, on Twitter and stuff were kind of complaining about the lineup a little bit. First of all, like I said, Cal has to have days off, and Zavala hasn't started a game since May 26th. So if you're going to have Sebi Zavala on the roster, he's got to play, right, eventually. And this was a perfect spot to get him in there, catching Emerson Hancock. And in a game where you've won the first three, perfect game to start him. Yeah, you could have started Mitch Garver and DH Cal, but it's even though Cal ended up playing a few innings, I think you want to try and give Cal that full day off in that situation. And Garver might be catching tomorrow night with George Kirby because it'll be Castillo tomorrow. So Garver might catch Saturday, I would assume. So, and the Dodgers lost. So the Rangers will be 5.5 back coming into the series starting tomorrow. Let me also pull up the Mariners box score while I'm here. Perfect. So we can go over that. But so I listen, if Zavala's on the roster, he's got to play. And honestly, Robles and Zavala, not really the problems tonight, right? Robles hit a stinging double that almost got out of there off Crochet. Zavala just missed a foul ball. I mean, he pulled it pretty foul, but one of the better contacts we saw off Crochet all night, and he worked a walk. So Robles had a line out at 109 as well off Crochet. So Robles and Zavala really weren't the problem. So we can complain about the lineup, but the only two guys in the lineup that really would be worth complaining about were those two, and they were honestly fine. Like the rest of the guys were guys that would play anyways. So, I mean, we can complain about them if you want, but, that wasn't a lineup construction issue necessarily with the loss tonight. I had no problem with it. I think it's a good time to do it. Listen, Texas is dealing, Corey Seager was scratched. They're the ones trying to catch you. Now, a lot of baseball left, but they've had to use their big guns in LA to get the win. The Mariners were able to kind of, after winning the first three, hit the mic there, able to align themselves better for Texas. I don't want to call it like a punt game because they still had a great chance to win this game. And I even said on Twitter, even with all that, even if you did give Julio and JP the day off and you go with Emerson Hancock, if you can get Crochet out after 6 innings and keep it a 1-run game, you're going to have a chance, which they did. So it wasn't really a punt game. It's just trying to set your ducks in a row for Texas, which is smart. It's what you should do. The Texas series is more important. Every game is worth 1. So I'm not saying that a win tonight wouldn't have been great. I'm disappointed. It stings that they didn't pull that game out, especially after the Julio home run in the 9th inning. But in general, I will, sacrifice this one if you can get 2 out of 3 against the Rangers and have everybody feeling good, going in healthy for that series. So it's going to be a great one starting tomorrow night. If you're in Seattle, get to the ballpark, be loud, be proud. Huge series for the Mariners. Huge. And the pressure is on Texas. And you are going to get everything Texas has. Remember when Houston came to town, I said the same thing. This is a big series for them. They're looking at this going, listen, we have not played our best baseball this year, not even close. But if we can go into Seattle 5.5 back and sweep, we're 2.5 games out of this division and we're right there. Houston had that same mindset, I'm sure, coming in a month ago or a few weeks ago, whenever they came in, and the Mariners took 3 out of 4. Time to make another big statement series at home. And I don't want to say dash the Rangers' hopes because there's a lot of baseball left. But if you could win 2 out of 3 or even sweep, you are sitting very pretty. And it's crazy. Like in 3 days, the Mariners could be 8.5 up in the division. They could be 2.5 up. It is just crazy to kind of think about, how this could go. So you got your big 3, right? You've got Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert. You are lined up very well. You've got the big dumper rested. You should have a bullpen that is pretty good to go for this series. So you've got to feel really, really good about it. Let's get into this game a little bit more. I do want to talk about the late innings a little bit. Obviously, the Mariners down 2-1 going into the bottom of the 9th. Julio Rodriguez hits an extremely clutch home run. Great to see. Good to see Julio really putting some good swings on some of these top-level relievers. We saw him take Mason Miller deep last week, which was really impressive. And, I know Kopech's ERA is high, and he can get a little wild, but the stuff is really, really good. Michael Kopech is a good pitcher. And truthfully, they only had 3 tonight, but I was going to say outside of Crochet, the best the Mariners saw, but they only had one other guy go. But you know what I mean? A very capable reliever. The White Sox bullpen, not very good. Kopech, not the reason for that necessarily. And Julio takes him deep. Really a shame because Dylan Moore in the previous at-bat struck out on ball 4. I get it. It's 101. It's easy to sit here in my chair and go, oh, Demo, why are you swinging at that? But it would have been ball 4, and maybe that's a walk-off home run for Julio. Then the 10th inning, Andres Munoz comes in, first time seeing him in a while. I will say this, and I don't mean this to be negative, but all things considered, I love the Julio home run. That's super encouraging. But I'd almost rather lose the game in the 9th inning because, is Munoz available now tomorrow? Because we know it's been problematic for him pitching back-to-back days. So I am a little bit nervous now. Is Munoz going to be okay for tomorrow? Because if he's not, then man, I get wanting to get him back in there. You can't just sit him for 10 days before Texas. And he looked good. Like nothing that happened to Munoz in the 10th was really concerning. Nicky Lopez had a little liner the other way. That was 85 off the bat. I have no idea how he hit that. Lopez is a former Royal, so I'm assuming the voodoo of the Royals is just inside of him still, and he pokes that the other way. And then Andrew Vaughn grounds out. Now, before I go into should Rojas have come home with that throw, because I do want to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be disappointing if Munoz is down tomorrow. I'm hoping not. He only threw, how many pitches did Munoz throw? He threw 17. I mean, I would think he could bounce back and be fine for tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. You know what? Hopefully you blow out the Rangers. Don't have to worry about it. But, we'll see what ends up happening. I have no problem going to him. I don't. He hasn't pitched in a while. And as much as I'm like, oh, it's disappointing now, he might be down tomorrow. I also don't know if I want Munoz facing the Rangers having not pitched in 6 days either. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. And I have no problem still trying to get that W in that game. I think they were trying to stay away from Munoz. That's why Bizardo pitched in the 9th. But, I get going to him in that spot. Now, after Lopez singled, it was runners at first and third with one out, and Andrew Vaughn hit a bit of a slow roller to Josh Rojas. And I asked on Twitter, could Rojas have come home with that throw? I honestly don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I think it would have been a really tough play. I think it would have been a perfect throw, and I still don't know if he would have gotten him. Now, you could say it's worth the risk in extras, but with the ghost runner now, I guess not really a ghost runner because someone's standing there, but with the runner you get at second, I think I'm okay taking that out at first. And Luis Roberts on deck. If you throw home and he's safe, runners are at first and second, one out. You now got to deal with Robert. You can't put him on. The inning could have gotten a little ugly. I don't know. I don't know. It looked like it was going to be a tough play. This is where I just, not really being a former ball player, I don't really know if that's the right play there or not. You guys let me know in the comments. And I'm not saying, I honestly don't know. It seems like he made an okay choice. Again, I think it would have been a tough throw from what I saw. But if you want to advocate he should have come home with it, I think that's fair. And you maybe win the game if he does. But again, in extras, I've always said when you're the road team in extras with the new rules, your goal should be to get 2 runs, to be perfectly honest. 1 is usually not enough. Now, it was enough tonight for the White Sox, but normally it's not. So I really don't have a problem sometimes with that run scoring, because you should be able to get it back. The Mariners didn't, but, let me know what you guys thought of that play in the comments down below. And then the bottom of the 10th, just tough. Tyler Locklear is a really bad at bat. Now, Locklear does hit his first big league home run tonight. So kudos to him. Congratulations to Tyler Locklear. And hit it off Garrett Crochet, too. Very, very impressive. Locklear will probably be going back down here in a little bit. Sounds like Ty France is getting close, which is great. France was red hot. But Locklear has asserted himself pretty well. He looks the part. He looks like a guy that can hold down, a major league, a role on a major league roster. He looks solid. And like I said, to hit that home run off Crochet, it was a changeup. It was the first changeup he threw, and Locklear went down and got it. Impressive. But a rough at-bat for him in the 10th. Rojas had a rough at-bat. Dave Sims got me a little excited off the bat. I thought Rayleigh maybe had it for a second, but it landed right in the glove of Luis Robert. So Robert taking care of his soon-to-be employer with the win. Very, very, very annoying. I guess maybe the Mariners front office called down. Maybe Jerry and Justin called down and said to let Luis Robert hit a few home runs this series. So it's going to look better when they acquire him. Although I don't know how much people are going to like that Michael Kopech's going to be in that deal as well after a tough series for him. I kid. Well, I know. I love Luis Robert. I'm just kidding. Like, again, this isn't to start a debate on it. We will have those as we get closer to the deadline and moves start happening. But, listen, if we do want to talk about that real quick, there is no scenario would I not be excited about Luis Robert becoming a Seattle Mariner. You could literally give him the whole farm, and I would still be excited because he's a great player. I do think there is some injury risks. He's missed a lot of time. I do think there's maybe an asking price that is too high. But even if you do go over that price, I'm not going to not be excited about Luis Robert. So we'll see what ends up happening. He does have the type of power that translates to, I think, like postseason baseball. He's just capable of hitting it off anybody. And we've seen the Mariners kind of struggle with good pitching and stuff. And Robert's just a guy that can, there's nobody too good that he can't take deep, essentially. And man, his power is just absolutely absurd. And, him playing next to Julio would be pretty fun. But let's move on to the rest of it. Let's get in the box score here. Emerson Hancock did his job tonight. He absolutely did. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 1 K. Listen, 1 strikeout, not super impressive. He walked more than he struck out. I will never, ever say that's good for a pitcher. But boy, did Hancock do what you needed him to do tonight. Not only did he keep you in the ballgame, only giving up 2 runs, gave you a chance to win, which again, the Mariners almost did pull this out. He also gave you 7 innings and saved the bullpen. The bullpen is in really good shape for the Texas series. Austin Voth may be the only guy down tomorrow, and we'll see about Munoz. Hopefully he's fine. But a tremendous, tremendous outing from Emerson Hancock. And one thing to remember, too, about this series, again, because I'm sure, and I get it, right? Your thought process might be like, Jay, happy they won 3 out of 4, but I'm a little disappointed the Mariners just played 4 like pretty dead even games against the White Sox. And fair, right? Like, there are scenarios you could play that series 50 times, and there's going to be times where the White Sox sweep that series the way the games went. They had a lead in all 4 games. The Mariners had to come back in all 4. I would be lying to you guys if I wouldn't tell you that it would have been nice to get like 1 blowout in that series. But again, Feedy's been good. Thorpe's a legit prospect. And then Crochet today. And then for the Mariners, you had 2 spot starters, Jonathan Diaz and Emerson Hancock, sandwiched around Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller. So, with all that said, I'm not very disappointed at it. The fact the Mariners were able to go with 2 spot starters in this series and still take 3 out of 4. And again, like I said, the White Sox are still a Major League Baseball team, barely, but they are. And especially, like I said, with Robert in there, and then when you have Crochet on the mound, like I always use the analogy, like the 2010 Mariners, right? Now, I think the 2010 Mariners are better than this White Sox team, but that was a terrible baseball team. When Felix Hernandez is on the mound, they're a little bit better. If the 2010 Mariners were able to clone Felix and have him pitch every game, they probably win 75, 78 games. Same thing with this White Sox team. If they cloned Garrett Crochet and he stayed healthy and he pitched all 162, they're probably winning 70 games, right? Like, their offense is still atrocious, but they're probably a somewhat competent baseball team. You just can't have these guys pitch every day. So then you have the rest of them, and it's not always pretty. So, but they are a much better team when Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert is in the lineup for sure. Austin Voth was fantastic with the shutout 8th. Bizzardo looked good in the 9th. You guys know I'm a big fan of Edward Bizzardo. Gets 2 strikeouts, gives up a hit. Inning ends on the strike him out, throw him out, double play. Thought Munoz was fine in the 10th. Didn't really have the slider to Vaughn. That was maybe a little frustrating. And then Vaughn swings 3-0 and gets the grounder to bring him home. But other than that, I didn't think he looked too rusty considering he hasn't pitched a lot recently. And again, a little bit of BABIP luck to get him. Lopez, I don't know how Lopez, like I said, it's just royal voodoo magic that's still inside of him, and he goes the other way with it to get on. And then Vaughn hits a bit of a slow roller that was hit too weakly to turn 2. And I think Rojas got caught in between a little bit, throwing home or not. And then you walk Robert and you get Gavin Sheets to fly out. I thought Munoz was fine. It's just kind of the downside of the ghost runner, essentially, is the only thing that prevented him from not locking that down. Frustrating that they got the first out, because that's the big thing in the extra innings. You want to get that first out without the runner moving up. They did that, so definitely frustrating they couldn't finish it off. But, in the grand scheme of things, I thought Munoz looked fine. Not much offense tonight. Mariners strike out 19 times, walk only twice, 3 hits, 2 runs. Again, I'll reiterate, like, yes, the offense was bad. Garrett Crochet is capable of doing that against most lineups in baseball. The Mariners lineup deserves criticism. The offense deserves criticism. This is not really the night I'm going to dive into it too much on them. Sometimes you run into really good pitching, and I think that was just the case tonight. It doesn't mean they had good at bats. They didn't. And sure, again, like every pitcher is capable of being hit, so they could have done more for sure. But this is just not the one that I'm going to be too up in arms about. I'll be far more frustrated if they're shut down by Andrew Haney tomorrow night, who's left-handed and not very good. Garrett Crochet is ridiculously good. So this is probably, sure, like the Mariners' offensive ineptitude plays a role, but this is definitely much more of just a lights-out pitcher beating you than it was the offense. JP was 0 for 3 with the walk. Rough game for Dylan Moore, struck out 4 times. Again, swings at ball 4 in the 9th. Would have been nice. Maybe Julio's is a walk-off. Garver 0 for 4. He did give one a ride off Crochet that I thought might get out for a second. I think in the 6th inning, but it kind of died at the track there for Robert. Rough game for Haniger 0 for 4. Tyler Locklear 1 for 4, gets his first big league home run. Congratulations, as I said earlier. Locklear 794 OPS, filling in for Ty France. He's done a nice job. Like I said, the at-bat in the 10th was rough, but you're going to take your lumps, right, when you first come up. You saw the high and the low. The home run, great. The strikeout, bad. Like, when you're a rookie, and not even a rookie, well, is a rookie, but a very, very new rookie, you're going to take your lumps in moments. So, but good to see Locklear with the home run. Robles had a nice double and hit another line out at 109 off the bat. Rojas 0 for 1 pinch hitting, had a tough AB. Rojas's OPS is down to 703. Wow. I didn't realize it would drop that much, to be perfectly honest. Rojas scuffling a bit. I say it all the time. We see him against lefties, but you can see why he's been platooned. But I didn't realize the numbers had dropped that far. Bliss 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts. Bliss struggling. I will say this. I've liked Ryan Bliss. He's had some good at-bats. His arm isn't great, but you can see the range in the field. I like what I've seen. He's got that kind of spark plug type player. But I'm ready to get Jorge Polanco back in there. I haven't seen enough of Polanco yet to write him off. And this is a guy that's been a consistent good hitter for the last decade. I want Jorge Polanco to get back in there. I do. I've liked Bliss. I don't think he's been, I guess offensively hasn't been great. The numbers aren't great, but I think he's done some good things. But I'm ready for Polanco to get back in there. Luke Raley was 0 for 2. Zavala 0 for 1 with a walk, and Cal struck out in his pinch hit. Cal and JP just got froze on fastballs by Ribia. Is that how you pronounce it for the White Sox? They were just sitting slider, and he froze them with a couple fastballs that looked pretty hittable. Those were some disappointing at-bats, I thought, in the 8th inning for sure. That might have been one of the guys that you could get to, although he has a good strikeout-to-walk ratio despite a very, very high ERA. I skipped over Julio, didn't I? Julio 1 for 4 with the home run. Great to see. Like I said, Julio homers off Mason Miller last week, gets Kopech today. Great to see. And great to see Julio's power. It's been better, right? Like, I'd still like to see more slugging overall from Julio, but it is starting to come on a little bit. What's that now? His 6th home run of the year? Yeah, number 6. I mean, we went all the way into that Texas series before his first. They haven't quite come in bunches yet, but I feel like we're getting close. I do. I feel like eventually it's going to happen. I've said that all season, but, I should say, maybe I don't know if it's coming, but it feels like it's needed. Because Julio's shown flashes. A lot of these guys, like, they kind of show flashes and they kind of drop back off. So hopefully this is, Julio has been swinging the bat better. And hopefully the slugging, is coming here for sure, because could really use it, especially this weekend. Throw it away. I think this is one you just kind of have to throw away. It hurts that Julio gets that home run and they don't win it. It looked like they were going to get another crazy win. Save them for Texas. I know that's not how it works before anybody in the comments tells me that, but it's my cope with the loss. But, you've got a huge series now with the Rangers, and that's what the focus needs to be on. You've got a 5.5 game lead. Took care of Chicago, beat them 3 out of 4. Now it's time to get after it. Now, this is a playoff series to me. This feels like playoff baseball. It's sold out in T-Mobile. It's going to be rocking. Get loud. This is where you can really make a statement that you're going to win this division in 2024. This is the biggest series of the year. You can put your foot down on Texas. and they're the ones that have to come out of here with the big series. You take 2 out of 3, you're sitting pretty, 6.5 games up. Nothing wrong with that. If you can somehow find a way to sweep, I mean, even better. 8.5, I'm doing the Dom Can zone there, I guess. Even if Texas wins the series, it's not the end of the world. You're 4.5 up. You really just, in terms of what you want to avoid, you really just want to avoid being swept. I hate even bringing that up because it's kind of like, I don't want to have that mentality, in this series, especially at home where this team's played really good ball overall. You got to be excited for this. You've got your big 3 going, and don't know what the status of Corey Seager is. Kirby Yates and David Robertson were used back-to-back games for the Rangers, so their pen may be a little down. You're going to have Haney. Then you're going to have, I know Dane Dunning's pitching in this series. I think Evaldi goes game 2. So it looks like it's going to be Haney, Castillo, Evaldi, Kirby, and Dunning and Logan Gilbert. Mariners have the pitching matchup advantage in all 3. Go get a series win, and let's start locking this division down. And listen, by the time that Texas series is over, you're not halfway through the year, but we're getting close. We're a week away from the halfway point. And if you can be 5-6 games up at the halfway point, you're sitting pretty. Huge series. It starts tomorrow. Let's go get it. Go Mariners. Tridents up. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Use that SeatGeek promo code. That's still live. JS Trident for $20 off. You're going to T-Mobile this weekend. Go ahead and use it. Save yourself $20 off your first time purchase on SeatGeek. Helps me out as well. So go ahead and use it. Let's go. Go Mariners. I'm pumped. Hit that sub button. I'm going to be here all weekend. Maybe we'll do a live one of these games. Maybe we'll try to do a Saturday live or something. I'll try. No, I can't do Saturday. Like, you guys care that I'm going through this. Maybe Sunday. Maybe we'll try to do something Sunday. Saturday I can't do. Father's Day party going on. So Saturday I will not be home. Friday I'm getting home from work. I just can't do it. I'm too exhausted. Maybe we'll try something Sunday. Can't wait. I am so pumped for this series, if you guys can't tell. So pumped. Listen, and I know I'm ranting here like, Jay, shut up and just end the video. But we haven't had a lot of these series for the Mariners. I mean, I have watched almost every Mariners game since, I was a kid. 95 is what drew me into the Mariners when I was in Seattle. I won't say I watched every game in 96, 97, but probably starting in 2001, 2002, when I was in high school. I have probably watched some portion of every Mariners game since then. And all the down dud years that this team had, where by this point in the season, it didn't even matter. Now you are playing a huge playoff type series and a chance to really put your stamp on this division. Yeah, I'm pumped. I am absolutely pumped. Go Mariners. Take care, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.